A vigil taking place tonight remembering the shooting death of Madison teenager Tony Robinson on this day 10 years ago.
A group of voters is suing the city of Madison why they say the city violated their rights to vote.
And over 1 million people in Wisconsin rely on Medicaid. Tonight, a look at how many are on edge, concerned about cuts to the program. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. We do have breaking news at this hour.
A deadly crash is impacting traffic on Raymond Road and South Gammon Road. We've confirmed that one person, an adult, has died. The status of 2 children involved is unknown. This happened just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. We have a crew on the scene right now, and we hope to have more information on this story throughout our newscasts here on News 3 Now and online at channel3000.com.
Today marks 10 years since the shooting that killed Tony Robinson.
Madison police officer Matt Kenny shot Robinson after responding to a call in 2015, and that case sparked protests in Madison and across the country. Right now, the community is remembering Robinson with a vigil, and that is where our Tanasia Shaw joins us live. Tanasia, what events do they have planned today?
Hi, right now I'm at Cafe Coda 10 years later, and I'm speaking to family, and they're continuing to seek justice and mourn Tony Robinson. Right now there's 2 events going on. Behind me you can see that there is a documentary going on really depicting how the media covered Robinson's death, and there will also be performances from local artists, and that's called a Jump on a Mic event. And then even after that, there's more planned. Later, there'll be a candlelight vigil where Robinson died. Right now, we're going to show you video of the dash cam video from a squad car showing Madison police officer Matt Kenny entering a home and shooting Robinson in 2015. The white officer shot Robinson, a 19-year-old black man, after responding to a call on Williamson Street. Reports from the State's Department of Justice says that Kenny shot Robinson 7 times, and Robinson was not armed. As of right now, Kenny is cleared from any wrongdoings connected to the death. And again, this all happened in 2015. It sparked a lot of controversy and calls for justice from family, loved ones, and just people all around the Madison area. 10 years later, family are continuing to seek justice. And again, right now, there's an open mic event going on the other side of this restaurant. And then here you can see family, friends, everyone watching a documentary, and later there'll be a candlelight vigil. I will be at all those events covering it and talking to family, and I'm going to have updates throughout the evening. Susan and Eric, I'm going to bring it back to you in studio.
All right, Tanasia, thank you. Well, we just got done with rain, followed by all the snow.
Right, sunshine today, a chance to dig out, but more flurries are on the way tomorrow. Blaze Keller is on the weather patio with what we can expect. Hi, Blaze.
Hello, that's right. More snow is on the way. We got a break from one wintry mess to get ready for this next one. The good news is this next one is not going to be as long lasting. We're not going to deal with rain and then snow. We're just going to deal with snow, and it lasts Friday. It's out of here by later Friday night. It's going to start after midnight. We're taking a look at Future Track Friday, 3:30 in the morning, or is that 1:30? I'm a little bit far from my TV here, but it begins after midnight regardless, and will continue to expand across southern Wisconsin as we head into the late morning hours. By the late morning hours, that's when most of us will likely be dealing with the light to moderate snowfall. Starting in the mid-afternoon, we wrap that up. By the late afternoon through the evening hours, the last of the light snow, rain-snow mix wraps up across southeastern parts of Wisconsin. We'll talk about possible totals of snow in the full forecast. In the meantime, though, it is a beautiful afternoon. The birds are out. It is sunny, a little bit breezy at times, but we're in the upper 30s to low 40s, not only across southern Wisconsin, but in Dane County as well. It's 41. 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them. Sauk City, Waunakee, Middleton, Cross Plains, as well as Mount Horeb and Verona, so that would be 6. Upper 30s here for the next few hours, and the next couple of hours we will become more partly cloudy, turning mostly cloudy as we head beyond the midnight hour, getting ready for that light snow. As I said, we'll talk about totals in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. The Mount Horeb man charged with accidentally shooting and killing his friend with an AR-15 will go to prison for 5 years. Isaiah Miller originally pleaded not guilty to 2 charges stemming from a shooting in May of 2022 that killed a 19-year-old. He later pleaded guilty to one of the charges, and the judge dismissed the other. After serving 5 years, he'll get 5 years of supervision. The judge says there will be no early release and restitution will be determined later.
Madison police say they arrested a man who allegedly tried to carjack several people and rob another yesterday. Officers were called to East Washington Avenue about 8 in the morning for the first reported carjacking attempt. The suspect reportedly flashed a knife at people driving in the area. He then tried to rob someone at a grocery store, but staff members scared him off. Police eventually found the man trying to hide in a nearby sewer drain and arrested him on a probation violation. Additional charges could be coming.
A group of Madison voters is suing the city after their ballots were not counted during last November's election. This lawsuit stems from the 193 City of Madison ballots that went missing during the election and were never counted. Now 4 of them are suing the city on behalf of all 193 voters, claiming that Madison deprived them of their right to vote. We spoke with the legal team representing them earlier today.
And historically, when Wisconsinites have been denied the right to vote, they have filed lawsuits seeking damages from the municipalities responsible. Our work here follows that tradition.
Each of the 193 voters are asking for $175,000 in damages for their votes not being counted. And tomorrow, the Wisconsin Elections Commission will meet to decide how to move forward after the city of Madison misplaced those ballots.
The UW Police Department announces it has a new police chief. Brent Plish will officially become chief March 16th. He currently holds the interim police chief title. Plish had previously served in the position of assistant chief for administration and support. In a statement to News 3 Now, Plish promises to promote the safety and well-being of everyone at UW-Madison, saying, quote, "I, along with my UW-PD colleagues, strive to create an environment where students, faculty, staff, and community members feel safe," end quote. Before becoming a police officer, Plish served as a captain in the United States Army.
President Trump announces that he wants to create a new office, one with a major footprint in northeastern Wisconsin. The Trump administration is proposing an office of shipbuilding. It would require over $1 trillion to be spent over the next 30 years, with some of that entering northeastern Wisconsin's economy.
First of all, it's historic. I don't think there's ever been an announcement by the president to establish an office in the White House for the sole focus to look at the shipyard industrial base.
It could have a big economic impact on companies like Fincantieri Marinette Marine. The company signed a $1 billion contract with the Navy last May, but has faced labor shortages in recent years.
Well, last week, the U.S. House of Representatives approved $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. $800 billion of that would have to come from the Energy and Commerce Committee, which oversees Medicaid.
News 3 Now's Sarah Carlson is taking a closer look at what this means for us. Sarah?
That's right, Susan and Eric. 1 million people in Wisconsin rely on Medicaid. And we're talking about everything from health care for low-income children to nursing home resident care to programs for more than half of the disabled community. News 3 invited a panel of people representing the disabled community to talk more about what Medicaid cuts could mean for them. Patty Engel's son, Will, that's him here, uses a Medicaid waiver known as IRIS, and provides a job coach to help him with his work at the Hy-Vee store in Oregon. As an adult with a disability, this is how Will is able to keep a job and maintain his independence. The alternatives have a cost not only to Will, but the whole community.
Right now, for someone to live in one of our state centers is $45,000 a month. For somebody to receive community-based supports through IRIS or family care is $4,500 a month. There isn't physical capacity for everyone to physically move somewhere, right, where they're going to stay, as well as that income or that cost to us as taxpayers will dramatically increase.
And those with more severe disabilities who need caregivers are facing even more serious consequences. And coming up tonight on News 3 Now at 6, we'll introduce you to more of the faces of Medicaid as they discuss what they want the community to know and to do.
We look forward to that, Sarah. Thank you. And still ahead at 5, the Trump administration is pledging to bring detained Americans home.
Plus, more pauses are made on tariffs for Mexican and Canadian goods, the concerns being raised by businesses around the country. And the brutal week continues on Wall Street. The Dow tumbled another 427 points, now down 1,300 for the week. The Nasdaq loses more than 483. The S&P was down 104. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
President Trump announces more products from Mexico and Canada will get a temporary reprieve from tariffs.
Erica Brown has more details from the White House.
President Trump says he's agreed to a temporary pause on tariffs for many goods coming in from Mexico as part of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. He posted, Mexico will not be required to pay tariffs on anything that falls under the USMCA agreement. This agreement is until April 2nd. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum praised Trump for the decision and said nearly every product Mexico exports falls under the agreement.
I've yet to have a business from Kentucky come to me and say they want tariffs.
Republican Senator Rand Paul says business leaders in his state are telling him tariffs will hurt their companies and the economy.
We're talking about exemptions because even the people for them acknowledge that there are real problems with tariffs. I think they're both ways.
Trump is also pressing ahead with downsizing government. Cabinet secretaries met with Elon Musk Thursday to talk about the Department of Government Efficiency's efforts to cut costs and staff. CBS News has learned the administration is working on an executive order to begin the process of dismantling the Department of Education.
We have to reduce spending to pay down debt, and we have to reduce spending to lower prices for consumers, and that's a good place to start.
Democratic lawmakers say the president doesn't have the authority to eliminate the Department of Education.
The Department of Education is created by law, and there are lots of laws that define and mandate particular programs.
Anybody that disagrees with this, let's put it in the courts and let the courts rule.
Education Secretary Linda McMahon said during her confirmation hearing that she agreed with Trump's vision to send education back to the states. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump says the U.S. will move forward with reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd on foreign nations that have import taxes on U.S. goods. A solemn ceremony is held in Washington honoring U.S. hostages and Americans being wrongfully detained abroad. Former Israeli hostages, detainees, and their families were in attendance for a special flag-raising ceremony at the State Department. FBI Director Kash Patel delivered remarks at the event and pledged his agency will work with the intelligence community to bring home all Americans detained or held hostage in foreign countries.
Just imagine if one of yours was taken. What would you do, and what would you expect of the United States government to do to return them to you? And the simple answer from this administration, from President Trump, from Secretary Rubio, is we will do everything. This is a top priority.
President Trump issued what he called a last warning to Hamas this week to release all remaining hostages held in Gaza or face death.
It has been a sunny day here across southern Wisconsin. Snow, though, is set to return soon. Meteorologist Blaze Keller joins us with when those flurries will start flying again. Blaze?
That's right. As soon as midnight tonight, we get ready for that next round of snow, beginning out across southwestern parts of our forecast area, Grant, Crawford County, and then expands eastward as we go into the morning hours. That's our last round of snow before we head into the weekend and before we climb into those 60s to start off next week. So Future Track brings in that snow as we go into the midnight hour onwards. We're looking at 4 o'clock Friday morning, beginning to creep into parts of Dane County, into parts of Greene County. You're getting the picture. Richland, Sauk County as well, Grant, Crawford County. We've been dealing with this snow probably since 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. As we go into the late morning hours, so your morning commute is going to be impacted by this snow, but it's not going to be breezy, so that is some good news. The snow is going to be at its peak, I would say, from the late morning through the mid-afternoon. And then as we go into the late afternoon, with the afternoon warming, we see some of that snow turn back over to a rain-snow mix. We're looking at 7 o'clock tomorrow, and already a lot of southern Wisconsin is dry or has been dry. We deal with still a few flurries to light rain snow mix across southeastern parts of Wisconsin until we go overnight. And then we sit underneath the high pressure system, which of course is going to keep us quiet into your Saturday, your Sunday, and then further into Monday. In terms of snow totals, unless you're along the state line, most of us will probably pick up less than an inch. Tomorrow's high temperatures are going to be in the upper 30s. Saturday's high temperatures are going to be in the 40s. So whatever snow we do see tomorrow is quickly going to melt. Not to mention our ground is warmer, so the snow is initially going to melt as it's landing too. But 1 to 2 inches possible closer to the Illinois border. North of Dane County, I would say you probably are looking at less than a half an inch of this snow. And we're seeing those snow totals, the higher snow totals remain to our south, which is why we're likely not going to see any winter weather advisories issued for parts of southern Wisconsin. Right now, that just comes up to about Waterloo, Iowa. We're not seeing that move eastward, so that is some good news. It doesn't reaffirm to me that this system is maybe shifting northwards. It's staying off to our south. Seasonal day tomorrow, upper 30s to low 40s, and then we warm on up. Except for Friday and Sunday of next week, every single day looks to be warmer than average as we sit underneath the ridge of the jet stream. We want to be in these greens, those yellows for those warm temperatures. And after our system moves on eastward, we really tap into heat that's actually off to our north and west. A couple systems coming off of out of the Pacific Northwest, riding along the jet stream here is gonna pull that warmth northward. So as we look to Tuesday of next week, when we're expecting those 60s, those low to mid 60s, that's when a lot of this warmth is even creeping into parts of southern Canada. So we are in store for some warm days here as we kick off next week, and we don't see a big dip in temperatures or even confidence in temperatures dipping anytime soon. So it looks as though as we kick off meteorological spring, it is starting to feel like spring as well. Also, we spring forward on Sunday when we're set to climb into the low 50s.
All right, thank you, Blaze. After the break at 5, potentially threatening asteroids have been in the news lately. We'll introduce you to the men and women protecting the planet from interstellar threats.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Just this week, you may recall there were reports that NASA was tracking a bus-sized asteroid that was flying past our planet.
We've seen this movie through the years.
No need to be worried.
No. It's not only the space rock that astronomers are watching either. Chris Van Cleve introduces us to so-called asteroid detectives and planetary defenders who are trying to protect everyone here on Earth from potential disaster.
This is the front line of planetary defense. The Lowell Discovery Telescope in northern Arizona is one of a handful around the world searching the night sky, hunting for asteroids that could potentially threaten planet Earth.
We can see orders of magnitude fainter than you would be able to with your naked eye.
Since December, astronomer Nick Moskovitz had this telescope trained on asteroid 2024 YR4. At the time, it was predicted to come uncomfortably close to Earth in about 8 years.
It rose to a threat level that we just have not seen very often. We knew we had to monitor it and try to understand everything we could about it. So not just where it is, but what is it made of, what size is it.
You kind of become an asteroid detective.
That's absolutely right.
It's like a blur.
On a computer screen, it's just a speck of light, tens of millions of miles away. But astronomers calculated it could be between 130 and 300 feet wide.
It would cause significant regional damage if it were to impact over a populated area.
You're talking about wiping out a city.
I'm talking about wiping out a city, yeah.
In 2013, a smaller asteroid just 60 feet across exploded over Russia, injuring more than 1,600 people. 50,000 years ago, an asteroid big enough to wipe out an entire city crashed to Earth in what is now northern Arizona. It left this crater, 3/4 of a mile wide, 600 feet deep. Back then, there was nothing humanity could do to stop an asteroid. That's changed.
And liftoff.
In 2022, a first-of-its-kind test, NASA intentionally crashed a spacecraft into a small asteroid, nudging it just enough to change its trajectory. NASA's acting planetary defense officer, Kelly Fast.
It's the only natural disaster that we could potentially prevent. And if you were to find an impact threat to Earth, well enough advance, then you wouldn't have to deflect it much for it to be able to miss the Earth in the future.
2024 YR4 won't need to be deflected. It's now expected to miss Earth. But astronomers believe 14,000 undiscovered asteroids large enough to cause damage could still be out there.
Find them before they find you. The sooner you find them, the more options you have for deflecting potentially hazardous asteroids.
which is why Moskovitz keeps scanning the night skies. I'm Chris Van Cleve outside Flagstaff, Arizona.
Fascinating stuff. We'll have a final check of our weather when we come back.
There's a truce in the trade war the U.S. initiated with Canada and Mexico. So why is Wall Street down? And in our Eye on America, a hot idea that solved two problems at once. We go to Nevada to see how the original stewards of the land allied with its current caretakers. Tonight on the CBS Evening News.
The world's largest and oldest iceberg has come to a standstill after running aground near the remote island of South Georgia. That's about 1,500 miles east of Argentina, out in the middle of the Atlantic. The megaberg, named a A23A, cracked off from continental Antarctica way back in 1986, and its elusive path has captivated scientists.
The frozen giant weighs over 1 trillion tons and is currently stuck on an ice shelf near the island, famous for its populations of penguins and seals. Scientists say its position now might help stir up nutrients in the area, making food more available for the penguins and seals.
And Blaze is back as we take another check of the forecast.
Yes, we got some snow set to arrive beginning later tonight after midnight and continue into your Friday. The good news is it will wrap up later Friday, but do plan for a, I would say, snowy morning commute after a quiet night tonight with cloudy conditions. We're into the upper 30s to low 40s, pretty seasonal. We're looking at about an inch or less for most of the forecast area, and then we stay quiet through the weekend.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. The CBS Evening News is next.